Hey, what's going on, guys? Christian Hanna here. You're watching CHH, and today we're going to continue Vampire Month with the late 80s film Vampire's Kiss. Now, Vampire's Kiss is a charming little film that is a horror comedy about Nicolas Cage getting bit by a vampire and going through a bunch of hijinks trying to survive and figure out love. You would think that's what it's about. So to preface this review, I gotta say, I went into this film with the absolute preconceived notion of what it was going to be. Everything about the film from an outside perspective made me think it was going to be a quaint little fun little horror comedy. But watching the film, I was absolutely in awe, shocked, and in disbelief of the film that I watched. Now, to be honest with you, I almost want to go into this review and stop it now and say, you have to see this film to believe it. But the fact of the matter is, you clicked on a video called Vampire's Kiss Review, and that's what I'm going to give you. But it is going to be spoiler-free. Now, to go in some sort of a plot here, I'll say this. Peter Lowe, he's basically your typical big agent guy. He wears a suit and tie. He makes a lot of money. He goes out to clubs at night, brings women home, sleeps with them, and moves on to the next one. But he's also a schizophrenic, maniacal, bipolar, you name it, he has it. He is not right in the head. One of the subplots of this is he has a client that is wanting to renegotiate a contract, so he has to pull out the old contract to resend it over, make some changes, but when he can't find it, this really bewilders him and aggravates him. So he puts his assistant on the job, gives the absolute most brutal, dictator-like, I don't even know how to phrase this, stance on this woman. He wants her to find this contract yesterday. When she doesn't find it within 5 minutes, he jumps on tables in front of everybody else in the main office, points at her, chases her out of the main building, gives her that famous meme face that we've all seen. I'll pull up that face right now. I always wonder what movie this was from. Well, I can say this, that the scene itself is just as amazing as the meme itself, and that is a fact, and you can take that to the bank. And that's just part of the plot. He's also going to a shrink once a week because, as I mentioned, he has some severe mental problems. He has one woman that he brings home, and a bat flies into his house, and this really sexually arouses him. So when he brings this up to the shrink, he's really embarrassed about it, doesn't really want to talk about it, and the shrink is trying to understand what he means by this, but basically shrugs it off and says, see you next week. Well, when he brings another woman home, this woman is a vampire, and she actually bites him on the neck and draws blood from him. But when he wakes up the next morning, you don't really see any cuts on his neck, but he puts the Band-Aid over it, and so we're wondering what's going on. This movie that I thought was going to be this quaint little horror comedy, kind of like he's in love with a vampire type thing, and he's going through all these funny scenes, turned into the psychological case study of a man losing his mind thinking he is a vampire. And he goes to extremes to where he buys plastic fangs to put in his mouth so he can actually be a vampire. But is he really a vampire? You'll have to watch the movie to find that out just for sure. Now, this movie borderlines on absolute insane ridiculousness and almost a masterpiece. And I'm really not sure which way to fall on that sword yet, because Vampire's Kiss has to be seen to be believed. It's one of the most insane performances I've ever seen, and all that credit has to go to Nicolas Cage. Also, did I mention he legitimately eats a cockroach in this movie? Yes, I did my research, because when I watched the film, I was in disbelief many times as I was watching this, to the fact that I was like, this is not the movie I thought I was going to see. So when he picks up a cockroach on top of a dirty stove, in one shot, you see the hand go down, fiddle around, grab the cockroach, bring the cockroach up to his face, spin the cockroach in his hand, throw it in his mouth, and chew. No cuts, all in one shot. And I thought to myself, that can't be real, but then it set in, no, this is a modest budget Hemdale picture in the late 80s. They're not getting fake cockroaches for him to put into his mouth and chew. That was a real cockroach. I did my research. Nicolas Cage said it was his idea, and he regrets it profusely. I can't imagine why. Some of the moments in this film are so bizarre that I can only imagine what the script looked like for this. I think what this movie was supposed to be was just a shocking, almost exploitative movie about a mental person losing their mind on screen and what they go through when they get something fixated in their head. Like I said, this guy thinks he's a vampire, and it is absolutely riveting, shocking, bizarre, exciting, and shocking. Again, this movie borders on insane and almost a masterpiece. It's something that is stuck in my head, and I don't think I'll ever see a movie quite like Vampire's Kiss. And when I say stuck in my head, that's the trait of a great film. So I don't know. This is a film you have to see to believe, quite frankly. I've never seen anything like Vampire's Kiss, and to say that I had preconceived notions about this film would be an understatement. It is truly remarkable what they captured on screen with Nicolas Cage. It is probably the most insane performance I've ever seen. Now, I don't own this movie, unfortunately. Believe it or not, Scream Factory put this out on a double pack for like 2 weeks, and then it completely went out of print, and it goes for hundreds of dollars. So, luckily, Pluto TV got their hands on it, which Pluto TV is a free app. You can download it. You don't have any sign-in. And all I had to do was watch a bunch of Dove soap commercials, but it was free, cost me nothing. And I implore you to watch this film. If it ever comes out in physical media, I'm going to have to grab it because I'm still in shock of the film I saw, and I am wondering if I was on drugs myself before seeing it and I'm reviewing a movie that I've completely made up in my head. It has to be seen to be believed. Vampire's Kiss from 1988 or 89, I'm not even sure, starring Nicolas Cage. Man, sometimes films just absolutely shock me.